can hear you now. All good now. Okay, good. Australia is a
Sorry
long.
about that, guys. Obviously, I'm a bit far away. I should need
Yeah,
to
it
shout
is.
louder.
Yeah. Okay, but it's all good now. So, without further ado, uh, I'm really happy to have you here, Jo.
Thank you.
I hope some of you may know Jo because she's been sharing her expertise, knowledge of ELT for many, many years through different channels. She's a CELTA tutor, CELTA assessor, and she's got a newly acquired PhD, which she's really proud of. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And Jo is here today to talk about expressing yourselves as teachers for video. So over to you, Jo.
Thank you. Thanks very much. You go. Thank you. There's the slides. That's fabulous. Hi, it's so nice to see you, to see everybody, and well, not to really see you, I suppose, but to be here with you, I should say at least. I'm very happy to be here. It does feel a bit funny, that time difference. I'm actually, I've had your day. You haven't had my day yet. I've already had it. It always seems very strange, but anyway, it's good to be at the beginning of your day. I always like to start these talks by finding out how many people actually know me or know anything about me. So could you put in the chat a number one if you know me personally, if you've met me, a number two if you've seen my website or you've seen me on social media, and number three if you haven't got a clue who I am. And you're thinking, who are you? Oh, mostly number threes, right? Okay, that's nice. It's always nice to have a new audience, some new people to be talking to, I guess. Some of you obviously seen my stuff on the website. That's nice too. So let me explain a little bit then. I have a website at elttraining.com. This is what it looks like. I've been teaching for quite a long time, and I have been making videos on this website for about 10 years now, actually nearly 11 years, and which I'll tell you a bit about in a minute. So I make videos for CELTA trainees, but also for experienced teachers like yourselves, and also for people who want to make video and make a living out of it, as I do perhaps. So we're going to be talking about today, different things today. This is what I've got on the agenda for you. I want to talk about why making video is important for teachers, what my video making journey looked like, what sort of push and pull factors there are, what might push you towards video, and what might pull you towards it in a more positive way. What might stop you? There's plenty of things that might stop you, I'm sure, and a few tips along the way as to what might help. So with no further ado, let's move along to this first one, which is, why is it important? So if you start thinking about this, if you think about it, where do you go for information? If you want to find out anything, I mean, literally anything, how to plait hair, how to milk a cow, recently I've just bought a van and I didn't know how to find out where the engine was. It's under the passenger seat. I looked on. Where did I look? Tell me now in the chat. Okay, the internet, specifically which part of the internet? Google, of course, but Google will often send you towards YouTube. YouTube is a really rich repository for learning anything. I mean, really anything. Teachers go there for development. Learners go there to help with their materials too. And so there's a lot out there which is really helpful. And COVID has only made this more of a thing. It's normalized online education. It's made it much more usual to learn from the internet, particularly from video-based courses, I think. It's also made it much easier for people to think about having a business on the internet, I think, and selling courses, selling their expertise in terms of courses. So how many of you already, just put the first question, do you use video in class? Other people's video, other video, any video? Yes, with exclamation marks. Always. Great. Okay. So we think that this is a good thing. Okay, here's another question then. How many of you have already made a video for educational purposes? For your students or ever once? Oh, somebody has once. Great. Nata, nice to yeah, Eva did too. Well done. Hopefully in the question time we may have a little bit of a chance to discuss how that went. Okay, that's great to see that some of you have done this already. I guess the question, because this isn't a small amount of work, as I'm sure the people who've done it will testify, why? Why would you do this? Why would you want to, as a teacher, go and make video? Well, I think there's several reasons. And the first one is to support your own learners, as obviously some of you have already done. So your learners are going to love videos that you've actually made, and obviously they can be very specific to your learners. So this might be something that you want to put together. Somebody was telling me recently, she said, oh God, I've explained the present simple and present continuous 100 times. She said, I do it 3 times a week. I just want to put it down on video so that I don't have to explain it all the time to my learners. And I'm sure that her learners would really appreciate their own teacher telling them this. I think this is good because you can use it also in a flipped classroom type of approach. You could give them videos before class, learn this vocabulary, learn this grammar. When you come into class, at a point when you have the teacher there and you have the time, you can use it in more communicative ways. That's the best use of that fairly expensive time in the classroom, whereas the sort of the cheaper time, if you like, is all the time they have in the week to do that. This is great because it doesn't matter how old your learners are. It doesn't matter what stage your learners are at. It doesn't matter if they're beginners or really advanced. It's applicable for all of those learners. You can make videos to be applicable for all of those learners, and they can have you not just in the classroom. So that's a really good reason. Another good reason, and actually I think it's a better one, is that you might not want to just reach your learners. You might want to reach new learners. You might want to make online courses that showcase your expertise and sell these. And you can do this, and you can do it in your bedroom. You don't have to have special recording equipment. You don't have to have a special place to do it. You can do this. I do. I earn a really good living at it, much better than I did as a teacher. And, you know, it's very possible. It's completely possible. And that's what I'm going to really be sort of talking about. And it's a passive income. So, for example, as I said, I've just recently achieved my doctorate. It took me 7 years of study to do it, but towards the end, I had a 7 years study grant, and at the end, I had to finish it. So I had about 6 months where I think, okay, I've got to sit down and write this thing. I put everything on one side. No work, no other work, no making videos, no newsletter, no marketing the website. But still my online courses sold because people know about them, so they buy them. I still had a good income, a very stable, good income over those 4 months where I did nothing at all. Now, I'm not saying that's sustainable forever because it isn't. You have to keep marketing stuff. But, you know, you can certainly have a break. You can certainly work when you want and where you want. So this is really powerful. Put your hand up if you think this sounds good. Wow, sounds great. It does. And it's not a dream. It is perfectly possible. I've done it. You can too. The other thing I think to do that video is useful for is just putting your head above the parapet. Now, I think I'm a reasonably good teacher. I've had good feedback from a lot of people over a long period of time, but I know lots of teachers, many, many, many teachers and many, many trainers who are just as good or better than I am. But they don't get the kind of recognition that I do. I've got a fairly good following because they don't show themselves, because nobody knows who they are. Social media has an amazing ability to allow you to show yourself. If you want to get private students that you can teach online, they've got to be able to find you. They've got to know who you are. Video can do this. Video is really good at showing people who you are and getting them to feel as if they're connected with you. I was talking to somebody yesterday who was saying, I really feel like I knew you when I saw your videos. I take you to bed and watch you in bed, and I feel as if I've got a really good relationship with you. And this might be slightly weird, I guess, but I thought it was rather nice. So this is a good thing to show yourself to your learners and attract new learners, but also for employers. If you want to get a new job, then having those kind of skills will bring you, better employment, I think. Who wouldn't want a teacher who had those extra skills which potentially could be useful within a school? So for all sorts of reasons, it's certainly brought me things. It's allowed me to be a CELTA assessor, to be a joint chief assessor for Cambridge, to do lots of work like that's been very interesting. People invite me to speak at conferences like this. Enjoyable, nice work. So it's a generally really good thing. Are you with me? Does this sound like fun? Or are you going, no, I don't want to show myself a video? Okay. All right, good. So let's move on. I'll tell you a little bit about my story. I've been teaching, I'm very, very old, 57 years old, and I've been teaching since 1989. And these are 3 of the places that I've taught. Can you tell me what this first one is over here with the sunset? That's a very easy one. That's exactly where I am now, the beautiful Sydney Opera House. How about the top right corner? Anyone know where that one is? It's not so far from you guys, actually. Yeah, the bottom one's the Matterhorn and the top one's Prague. Yeah, that's right, absolutely. It's the castle on the top of the hill in Prague. So I worked for the British Council in Prague. I worked for a private language school in Sydney for a couple of years, and I'm back here now with my partner. And I also worked in Switzerland in an international school. So I've worked in many different institutions and many different kinds of jobs. And after a while, I worked at ESOL in the UK for about 13 years, long time. And after my children started school, I decided that I actually wanted some more development. I think investing in yourself is really important. It brings good things. And in 2010, my youngest of 3 boys started school, and I decided that I wanted to go back and do an MAT at Warwick University, and that's what I did. And when I started it, I had no clue that it would change my life in any way particularly. I had a nice job, nice colleagues, doing CELTA training, ESOL teaching. I really enjoyed it. It was close to home. It was convenient. I didn't expect it to change much. I was just hungry for some more knowledge. But it really changed everything for me. I got involved in learning through the internet, in online teaching, and I did my dissertation for that about developing a grammar course for people who speak English as their first language, so they know the language really well, but they didn't know what a preposition was. They didn't know why articles were difficult. They didn't know what an adverb was. Because we don't learn this in school in England, in the UK. And so people who were coming to do CELTA courses who wanted to be teachers didn't know this stuff, and they needed to know that stuff. So I wanted to make a grammar course, and I did. And that led 2 years later to me launching ELT training. That's what it looked like in 2012. And at that time, I just had one course, a grammar course, and I also made a video every month, one video every month that I put out for free. And I said, this is free. And by the way, I still sell that grammar course. And that's what I did over the next 10 years. Now, it started slowly. It was a hobby, effectively. And I just did, say, one video a month. I didn't do very much. But as my children got older and needed me less, and as I got more interested in it, it grew. And now this is what it looks like. The website looks distinctly more professional, I think. And I have 7 online courses that I've made, 7 free resources that I give away to people. If anyone can go ahead and have a look and access them and enjoy them, please do. I have a group program, which I'm going to tell you about. I make a new video every week. It is the best hobby ever, actually. It's a lot of fun. A lot of it is a lot of interest. I write a newsletter every week, and if you sign up to the website, if you just enroll on one of the free courses, you'll be on my newsletter, and I send out a new one every Sunday with tips and tricks and new video material and interesting snippets. And I've got over 30,000 subscribers on YouTube. My email list's about 20,000 people. Now, this is small beer, really, but it still makes me feel good. 2 million people have watched my YouTube videos, or maybe one person's watched them 2 million times, but I've had 2 million views. This makes me feel very happy, I have to say. As I say, it's small beer. My children are quick to tell me, but it makes me happy. And more importantly, it's given me the freedom. About 18 months ago, I took voluntary severance from the job I had at Warwick University, which I really enjoyed. But now I work when I want and where I want. So I was able to come to Sydney with my partner, who's Australian, and I can still work here. I can work in my bedroom. As long as I've got an internet connection, it's fine. I can work anywhere. Last year, we went to Greece and Italy for 3 months. We travelled all around. I was still working. In the morning, before we went swimming at the beach and for a nice walk and to do whatever else we did. It does sound amazing, doesn't it? And it is possible. And, you know, I do work quite hard. I like what I do. I get up early in the morning. I usually work in the morning, and then I have the rest of the day to do what I want. So it's a nice life. If you have a family, it's a good way of organising your life around your children, perhaps, or things like this. I am really passionate about telling people about this because it's been so good for me. And it doesn't have to be all or nothing. Over 10 years, I had a job, a job as well as doing this. I did this as a sort of a hobby, and it grew. And as it grew, it was able to sustain me. And now, as I say, it earns me more money than I've earned in any job, including working at the University of Warwick, which is a prestigious university. So all good. So these are the sort of things that might push you towards looking for something else, might push you towards thinking, well, maybe video might be a good thing for me. I think that these are the things. Now, I love English teaching. I've had a great time with it over a long period of time. And I've had good jobs, I think. But in our industry, burnout is not at all uncommon. Pay is often low and conditions are often uncertain. And this has not got better during COVID. In fact, it's got significantly worse. So I saw an advert recently for the British Council. The British Council were offering teachers who are living you had to be living in the UK or Canada or Australia or New Zealand, I think. So in expensive places to live, you had to be living in one of those places. They wanted online teachers who had at least a CELTA, preferably a Delta, at least 2 years experience. And how much were they offering to pay for this? £15 an hour. By the time you take preparation time out of that, that's barely minimum wage in the UK. Now, that may seem in Poland to be quite a reasonable wage, but it isn't in the UK or Australia, where rent is very high. And this is the British Council. So what are these private language schools paying? Nothing. This has not got better. And these things are problematic, I think, for our industry. There are other things which might pull you towards video making in a more positive way, I suppose. The other things are things like a professional interest. Maybe you've been teaching in the classroom for a long time. I had been. I knew how to organise the lesson and engage learners and teach them to read and write and speak, and my grammar knowledge is pretty good. But this was something new, learning how to teach people when you cannot know if they're watching you or not. I mean, even here it feels a little bit weird. I'm just speaking into the camera, but at least I can ask you a question and you can reply. Say yes to me. Go on, make sure you're still listening. Thank you. I appreciate it. So maybe it's for professional interest. Maybe you want to learn something new. It's quite, for me, it was a quite steep learning curve. It was different. It was the same skills that I had, but it was in a slightly different way, I suppose. It was like the same animal, but a different species. And so it was interesting. I learned a lot. It was good for my development. It made me interested as again, you know, it's like a whole new thing of like, oh, okay, well, how can I do that? And if I do this, like, it's fascinating. The other thing is that it's very low risk. You don't have to give, you don't say, oh, today, no, okay, now I'm not going to teach anymore. I'm going to give up my job. Oh, my word, no income. I'm going to make video. How's that going to work? Oh, no, 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 no. That's not the case. You don't have to do it like that. Here's my job. I keep doing my job. I find a bit of time. I had 3 small children when I started. I didn't have very much time, but I do now, a lot more time. But I didn't then. So I didn't do so much. I just did what I could do. And you can do that and build it up slowly. So at first it was a bit of extra pocket money. It did earn me some money, not a huge amount at first, but a bit, enough. And slowly it grew. And now it does very well. So it's, you know, and maybe it will always be a small side hustle, as something you enjoy doing. You make up some videos, you get some new contacts, you make some more money, but it doesn't have to be your whole life. The other thing I haven't put here, but it's true, is that one of the great things about the pull factor is that if you put yourself out there, I promise you, people will say nice things. The people who say bad things, they just don't bother to say things usually in our industry. Nobody's going to troll. Not many people are going to troll an English teacher. Mostly people are going to go, thank you. That was really helpful. That was great. Please keep doing this. And that makes you feel very, very happy. I suppose very satisfied. So let's move on a bit. Let's think about what might be stopping you. Why would you not do video? What scares you? Go on, just tell me in the chat. What is it that makes you go, oh, I don't know, maybe. It all sounds great, but I'm sure your face is absolutely lovely, Katrina. But I think that is one of the things. The other things. Quality below. Okay, unpleasant comments. My voice, English not perfect. Who says it has to be in English? Could be in Polish. Why not? Doesn't matter. Okay, let's have a look at these things. So, I'm aware of the fact that I'm sort of running out of the time I'm supposed to do for this. We have no questions, so I'm going to run through pretty quickly. I don't have confidence. A lot of people feel like this. People will be nice to you, I promise. You didn't have any confidence when you started teaching, probably, but you do now. Things grow. You get more confident as you go on, and I can help you. I'll tell you about that in a minute. Quite a few people said this. I used to feel this. I'm old, fat, wrinkled, whatever. Oh, I got old there twice. Obviously, I really thought that. Okay. Time consuming, yes. Or I don't like my voice. Well, the face one, you can just not show yourself. But trust me, no one's really worried about what you look like. They're worried about what your message is and how you sound on video. You sound just the same on video as you do to your friends and your family and everybody else. I promise you, you do. You sound just the same. So you just have to kind of get over that one. But the more you do it, the more easy you get. Too young. Well, that's never a problem, too young. you might be worried about, and somebody said about the language, and really I don't think that's a problem. Make videos in Polish for Polish people. Make videos partly in Polish, partly in English. This is not an issue. This shouldn't be an issue. If you're good enough to be in the classroom, you're good enough to be out there on video for sure. Technically difficult? Anyone worried about that one? Well, you shouldn't be, because it's easy. It's really, really easy. I can show you how. It's easy, not a problem. It is, though, time consuming. Somebody else said it took a long time. It does take time. But the good thing is, if you take a lot of time preparing a lesson, you teach a lesson and then it's over and you've got to prepare another one tomorrow. If you spend a lot of time making a video, it's there forever, potentially, certainly for a long time. You can use it again and again, and you can sell the course again and again. The grammar course that I sell most of, that's my most profitable course, I made 7 years ago. I haven't touched it in 7 years. It did take time to make, but it's made me a lot of money, and I don't have to do anything about it now. So the time is time well spent. Do I have to update it? I keep thinking, because I make better videos now than I did 7 years ago, I keep thinking maybe I should. But people seem to like it, and I still get good feedback on it. So at the moment, I'm kind of feeling like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The material's still the same. You might think that you need a lot of equipment, and the truth is, again, that you don't. How many of you have a phone with a camera? Or rather, how many of you don't have a phone with a camera? I'm guessing nobody. That's what I use. I use my phone. Phone's absolutely fine. Phone's got a really good camera, much better than your webcam, as good as most DSLRs. So you don't need a lot of equipment. Your phone will be fine. You do need to have editing equipment. But again, I can help you out with that one. So yeah, you can just do it with your phone. The other objection that people have is that they think, and a couple of you said this, there's already so many people doing this on YouTube. Mine will be substandard. There's no room for me. What authority do I have? I think you just, again, have to get over this. There are lots of people on YouTube who are very, very good. There are also many, 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 many people on YouTube who are very amateur. Trust me on this one. And it's fine. Even the people who are very, very good started out somewhere, and trust me, they weren't that great when they started. I wasn't that great when I started. I think I'm a lot better now. And I know there are a lot of people who are better than me, but I still put stuff out there. You've just got to keep putting it out there and learning. You weren't the best teacher when you started. My first lesson wasn't the best, but I'm pretty good now because I've had 30 years of doing it. You get better the more you do something. Practice helps. So these are the things that I think you should do. A couple of tips. Actually, I really don't have time for tips, so I'm going to go through this because I want to have time for questions. The main thing I think that I want to give you, and I've got a resource on my site, which I'll send you the link for, which will basically go through this and give you those tips. So don't worry that you kind of missed it all. You haven't. It's there on the site. But it's all easier with support. It's hard to do this stuff on your own. It's definitely possible. I did it, but it took me 10 years, and I'm quite determined as a person. I'm quite focused, and I'm quite disciplined. And it still took me 10 years, and I made lots of mistakes. So I think I can really help you to do this faster and more easily. And that's what my group program Voice will do. So I have an 8-week program called Video Creation for Educators, and it's to help you to learn to make video. So it will teach you, I'll give you an editing program, which is Camtasia, which is a very powerful editing program. In a group, you'll get input on how to light yourself, how to look good in videos, how to edit them, how to put text in, how to put images in, how to put video over the top, images over the top, how to structure a video, how to make it great. And mostly, yeah, the difficult thing is getting started. The main thing is that you will make a video every week. You'll make a new video. That's part of the deal. You make a new video every week, just short, 1 or 2 minutes. And once you've made that video, you share it with the group. And in a small group of just 3 or 4 people, you'll show your video in a live session once a week. You'll show your video and you'll talk about it. And you'll say why you were happy with it or what you weren't happy about. And other people get to talk about it. And you'll learn from other people's mistakes and from other people's successes. You'll be inspired by other people's successes and motivated to keep going. And at the end of 8 weeks, you will have videos which you can use for your purposes. So you won't be making generic videos. You'll be making videos that you can use for a course which you could sell, or for promotional videos that you could use to attract new learners. So it's very practical, it's very hands-on, and I hope that it will help you to develop your video making skills. So I've got a new cohort starting in January. There's more information on the site about it, so you can get information about all of that. And yeah, I think that's really, I'm about on time. I'm a little bit late, but I'm just squeaking in there. I can just say thank you. And are there any questions?
Thank you, Jo. Thanks. That was very inspirational. I don't know. Starting on Monday, majority of us can start making our own videos after listening to you, because you're so
Great.
enthusiastic about it.
I
And
am, because it's been so positive for me. That's the truth. I'm enthusiastic about it because it's been so positive, such a positive force in my life.
all right. All right. Yeah. So we have questions coming. Kasia, can you
Thank you.
paste them for us? Okay.
Yes. So all my videos, well, yes and no. So I put all of my free videos on YouTube. YouTube is a fantastic repository and a great way of getting yourself known, because it helps with Google and Google Analytics and SEO. So all of my free videos are on YouTube. If you look for the channel ELT Training, or if you just put Gakonga into YouTube, you'll find me. Obviously, it's useful to have an unusual surname. But all of the paid videos, obviously the videos which are within a course, they're obviously not on YouTube because you have to pay for them. And so they're housed on my website within courses, and that's on a platform called Learn Worlds.
We have more questions.
Okay, editing software. Editing software I use is Camtasia. Somebody just asked below, is it a free tool? No, it's not free. It costs about £270. If you do my program, I will give it to you, but it's not free. If you pay for it once, or if you have it once, it's lifetime. It's not a subscription. You don't have to pay for it every year. So it's good for that. I really like it because it's very powerful. It's quite intuitive once you get the hang of it. Like any new program, you have to sort of find your way around things a bit. But it's very powerful and quite intuitive once you get the hang of it. If you want to start with something cheaper and easier, I would recommend Screencast-O-Matic, which is, and you need the paid version. The free version you can't edit. You have to be able to edit it. That's key. So but the paid version is very cheap. I think it's $15 a year or something. It's not expensive. The platform that I use is called Learn Worlds. It's one word, Learn Worlds. There are other platforms like Teachable, Thinkific, Zenler. They're all pretty much of a muchness. In all honesty, I can't remember why I chose Learn Worlds. I did spend a lot of time thinking about it. I can't remember why I chose Learn Worlds, but I've been very happy with it. I've had it for about 4 or 5 years now. Before that, I used Moodle. Moodle's very cheap, and bit clunkier, I suppose. That's the reason I moved away from it, because it's clunkier and it always looks like Moodle. But it's very cheap, so you could start with Moodle. That's another possibility.
Any other questions coming? No, so I have a question in the meantime. Maybe you have some more questions, so this is, a great opportunity to ask them. Jo, you mentioned that you post your videos on YouTube, and have you thought about making videos for TikTok?
Yes, that I have actually, and in fact, that's on
Mm-hmm.
my to-do list for
Mm-hmm.
2023. So I think that you have to kind of start somewhere, and I think YouTube is always a good place to put things. I also put stuff on Facebook and LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't as yet. Well, I have got an Instagram account, and I used it a little bit for making sort of travel log videos. And I haven't ventured into TikTok yet, but I do think that next year, TikTok and
Yeah.
Instagram will be my next.
Yeah, it's becoming so popular. It's
Yeah,
become so popular.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
yeah, and there are lots of different videos. Of course, it's video based. It's again
Mm,
like YouTube, but the format is slightly different because the
yeah,
videos need to be much shorter.
sure,
So
absolutely.
then what you produce for YouTube, right?
Yeah.
So
You definitely,
usually,
I think, have
mhm,
to do something different for
yeah.
TikTok. Well, Instagram and TikTok, you could have the same materials, I think, but it's different to YouTube and to Facebook and LinkedIn.
But
I
again,
think
probably you might be able to recycle the thing that you've already produced by editing it and putting it into smaller chunks. Maybe,
possibly,
just,
possibly, but I think, to be honest, it's probably easier to just start again.
start.
Honestly,
Okay.
maybe with the same content, and it's obviously easier to make things a second time and
Mm,
make them in shorter bursts, as you say. But I think that there's a different. It's not just about the size and the format of the
that's
thing. I
true.
think it's also about the content and the fact that it's snappier and shorter on
Yeah.
Instagram and TikTok. So it's a little bit
Also, the
different.
language you use and how you do it. So I don't know how to phrase it, but it's it needs to be catchy.
Yes. I think
That
that's true
some you need.
with videos on YouTube too. Um,
But I
Somebody
think
asked
that
you
it
about.
needs to be something that will grab the viewers as they are, sliding these videos
Sure,
across their
got it.
screens. That needs
Absolutely.
to be something that will catch their eye and say, okay, I want to stay here and listen for a bit longer.
Yeah. Somebody says, isn't TikTok just for teenagers? Absolutely not. Absolutely
No,
not. You
it's
can
not.
find
Not
everything
anymore.
on there.
Not
Not anymore.
anymore.
Mm-mm. No. And somebody else then asked a bit more detail. Are also ever on social media? As I say, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, those are my three main channels. I think if you're going to start something like this, you should choose one social media channel. You should put stuff on YouTube, definitely, but also maybe one other social media channel at first, and get a following on one first. If you're trying to do 3 or 4 at the same time, I think you're likely not to grow very fast. Whereas if you start with one and push all your efforts into one, you can nurture the people, you can nurture your followers, you can start answering their questions, that sort of thing, and you're more likely to grow something. So build one bridge before you start building another one, I would say. Someone said a bit more details about the course. Different time zones. So most of the course takes about 6 to 8 hours a week, I would say. Most of that will be making your own videos. There's an input, which is on video, of course, which will take about an hour to 2 hours with videos and exercises to do to help you. And then there's a live session on Sundays. They're on Sundays because I think people are that's usually a good day for people. Yes, they are in different time zones. In the last couple of courses, I've had people all around the world. So I have different small groups. So the feedback groups are just in groups of 4, and those people obviously are in a time zone which is similar to the other people in that time zone, in that group, sorry. So would have different feedback groups. So I'd be doing it more than once, but you as a participant would be doing that 1 hour time, that 1 hour live session at a time that was convenient for you on a Sunday. Yes, I do have free courses. I've got lots of free courses on my website. If you just go to the website, to ELT Training, you'll be able to find them. So, for example, for people like yourselves, experienced teachers, I would say that the communication activities course, which is free, would be useful. I've also got something called the CELTA Toolkit. If you're more of a novice teacher, you might find some things in there useful, and that's free. I've got a thing called Grammar Quirks, which is a little thing that I did sort of for my own amusement, really. You might like that. That's free. What else have I got in there? Oh, another thing which is called Ideas for Busy Teachers, which has got lots of links to other useful things on the net. So there's, I think, 7 different free things on the site. So there's plenty there. Yeah. How did you have to change your teaching style to put in a video format? I think that, like many things, you kind of start with what you've got. You have to be who you are. What's interesting is learning how to be yourself when you're just looking in that lens, and you having to actually, that there are people there. They're just not there at the moment. They will be there. They'll be there after you've made the video. They'll be there, but they're not there at the moment. And so having to sort of relax and be authentically you, that's important. The other thing is keeping things moving, because you don't have the same, if I'm teaching a class, obviously I'd have a lot more activities that would involve the learners more. And you can do that a bit in video. You can give people a question and say, right, okay, stop me, but whether they do stop you or not is that's their choice, isn't it? You've got no way of controlling it, because obviously by the time they're watching it, you're not there anymore. So I guess, trial and error.
All right. Okay, so maybe the last thing that I'd like to mention is that one of our prizes for those who'll be with us today live is one of Jo's courses. This is not a free course, it's one of the paid courses. It's called Teaching Grammar Communicatively, that we will offer to you, and the prize draw will be done on the 6th of December. Jo, can you tell us something more about the course, maybe?
Yeah, sure. So it's it's a good prize to have, because it's my most expensive paid course apart from voice, and it's designed for teachers. What I often found was that teachers, often the thing for teachers was, if I already know the grammar, how do I teach it in a way which is going to be interesting for my learners, which isn't going to be just a grammar lecture? So that's what I've seen. I do a lot of observing teachers, and I find that it's really easy for teachers to fall into that trap of telling learners about the grammar rather than involving them in it and getting them to use it in a communicative way. And so my course is that Teaching Grammar Communicatively. Keep teaching, it's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? Teaching grammar communicatively is about exactly that. So it's thinking about a useful framework for teaching grammar in a way that will involve your learners and hopefully make it more useful for them.
Brilliant.
So you'll be able to access that. There's no live component to that, so you can just watch it at your own convenience.
It's a self-study course, right?
Self-study course, and you can have it as long as you like. And you can always ask me questions by email if you have any.
All right. So one final question: what was your PhD about, Jo?
It's about mentoring. So I developed a mentoring program. So I guess it was about developing teaching programs in lots of ways, which is sort of what I have used elements of that in voice and in my other courses. So it's about mentoring.
Okay, so once again, congratulations, and many, many thanks for being with us today with your inspirational talk. Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, stay in my mind for like, oh, that's really nice, thank you. And somebody asked about my surname. It's from Kenya. My ex-husband was Kenyan, so that's why I've got a funny surname.
Okay. All
Anyway,
right.
I'm going to see some of you on my site, and I really hope that you find something useful there.
Yeah,
Thanks very much.
absolutely. I'm sure you will. Highly recommended. Thank you very much, Joe. Have a good day. A my mamy w tej chwili króciusieńką przerwę, bo kolejna sesja zaczyna się o 10:55 i dołączy do nas wtedy właśnie Emilia Kacprzyk z Irlandii tym razem i będzie opowiadać o mediacji, ale mediacji nie psychologicznej, mediacji językowej i o tym, jak realizuje ją na swoich zajęciach z uczniami biznesowymi. Do zobaczenia za chwilkę.